What if the secret to a truly fulfilling life isn't about escaping hardship, but embracing it? Welcome to ZenLite 8, where we dive deep into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to uncover how every struggle, every breath, and every choice can transform you into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. In today's video, we're exploring how to live happily and fully every single day, no matter what life throws your way. Ready to rethink what it means to win? Let's get started. Hardship is the forge of a resilient life. Life doesn't promise smooth roads or clear skies every day. It's a truth we all face, whether we're chasing dreams in the heart of a bustling city or finding our way through quieter corners of the world. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who wrestled with the same human struggles we do today, understood this deeply. They didn't see hardship as a curse to dodge or a burden to resent. Instead, they saw it as a crucible, a fiery, transformative force that shapes who we are and who we can become. On this journey with ZenLite 8, let's explore why adversity isn't the enemy but a master teacher, one that chisels away our doubts and builds a resilience that no storm can shake. Because here's the truth: every challenge you face, no matter how heavy, is a chance to forge a stronger, wiser, and more grounded you. Think about the moments in your life that felt like they might break you. Maybe it was a job loss that left you questioning your worth, a heartbreak that hollowed out your chest, or a health scare that reminded you how fragile life can be. These moments don't come with warning signs or instruction manuals. They arrive uninvited, often when you're least prepared, and they demand something from you: courage, patience, or simply the will to keep breathing. The Stoics would tell you that these aren't detours from a good life. They're the raw material of it. Hardship doesn't just test your character. It builds it layer by layer, like a sculptor carving strength from stone. It strips away the illusions, the ego that whispers you're untouchable, the fleeting comforts that distract you from what matters, and leaves you with something real: the ability to stand tall, not because life is easy, but because you've learned to carry the weight. Consider the story of someone like J.K. Rowling, a name most Americans know. Before she became the literary legend behind Harry Potter, she was a single mother scraping by, battling depression and rejection after rejection from publishers. Her life wasn't a fairy tale then. It was a grind, a daily struggle to keep going when the world seemed to say, "Give up," but she didn't. Each rejection, each sleepless night, each moment of doubt was a hammer strike shaping her resilience. Those hardships didn't define her failure, they defined her fight. And in that fight, she discovered not just a story that would captivate millions, but a strength within herself she might never have known otherwise. That's what adversity does. It doesn't just break you down. It builds you up if you let it. It's not about avoiding the storm, but learning to dance in the rain, to find your rhythm even when the ground feels unsteady. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, knew this dance well. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Imagine him, a Roman emperor, sitting alone at night, not basking in power but wrestling with the same fears and doubts we all face. His life wasn't free from chaos. War, betrayal, and loss swirled around him. Yet he found peace by embracing what was hard. He didn't pray for an easier life. He trained for a stronger one. That's the Stoic mindset, and it's as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Whether you're stuck in traffic on the I-95, staring down a pile of bills, or navigating a family conflict that's tearing at your heart, the principle holds. Hardship is universal, but so is your capacity to grow through it. It's not about denying the pain. It's real, it's human, it's okay to feel it, but about refusing to let it own you. Let's make this personal. Picture a moment in your own life when everything felt like it was falling apart. Maybe it was last month, last year, or even yesterday. You were overwhelmed, maybe angry, maybe scared. But here you are, reading this, still moving forward. That's not an accident. That's evidence of your strength, even if you don't always see it. The Stoics would call this a victory, not because you won a trophy or got a round of applause, but because you endured. You kept going when stopping would have been easier. That resilience is quiet, invisible to the world, but it's everything. It's the spark that keeps you in the game, the proof that you're not just surviving, you're evolving. And every time you push through, you're not just getting by, you're becoming someone who can handle whatever comes next. This isn't about pretending life's challenges are trivial. They're not. A diagnosis, a divorce, a dream that didn't pan out. These things hurt deeply, but the Stoics remind us that pain is temporary, even when it feels endless. This too shall pass, they'd say, not to dismiss your struggle, but to give you perspective. Every storm eventually breaks, and when it does, you're not the same person who walked into it. You're stronger, not because you avoided the rain, but because you learned to stand in it. Think of a marathon runner crossing the finish line, legs shaking, lungs burning. The race didn't destroy them, it revealed them. That's what hardship does for all of us. It's not the absence of obstacles that makes a life meaningful. It's the courage to keep running, to keep showing up, to keep believing you're worth the fight. Now let's widen the lens. In America today, we're surrounded by messages telling us success means a big house, a fancy car, or 1 million followers on social media. But the Stoics would shake their heads at that. They'd say real success isn't about what you have. It's about who you are when life gets tough. It's about the single parent working 2 jobs to keep the lights on, still finding time to read their kid a bedtime story. It's about the veteran rebuilding their life after trauma, one steady step at a time. It's about you choosing to get out of bed on a day when everything feels heavy, because you know your life is worth living. These are the victories that don't make headlines but build souls. They're the moments that carve resilience into your bones, teaching you not just to endure but to thrive. Adversity also has a way of teaching us what matters. When life strips away the noise, when you lose the job, the relationship, the plan you thought was foolproof, you're left with the essentials, your values, your heart, your ability to try again. It's like a forest fire that clears the underbrush, leaving space for new growth. That's where emotional maturity takes root. You learn to love more deeply because you know loss. You learn to endure because you've felt failure. You learn to rise because you've fallen. And in that process, you discover a truth the Stoics held dear. Hardship doesn't diminish you. It defines the best parts of you. So, the next time life feels like it's testing you, pause, take a breath. Remember that this moment, as hard as it is shaping you. It's not here to break you. It's here to build you. You're not just getting through it, you're growing through it. And that growth, it's the foundation of a life that's not just lived but cherished, not just endured but celebrated. As we move forward, let's explore another Stoic truth, that the gift of life itself, every fleeting moment, is a miracle worth celebrating. Life is a precious gift. Every morning, when your eyes flutter open and the world comes into focus, you're given something extraordinary. A new day, a fresh breath, a chance to keep going. It's easy to overlook this in the rush of life, to hit the snooze button and dive into the chaos of emails, deadlines, or endless to-do lists. But the Stoics, those wise guides from centuries past, would pause here and ask you to linger in that moment. They'd remind you that each heartbeat, each ray of sunlight spilling through your window, is not just a given, it's a gift, a fragile, fleeting miracle that you're lucky to hold. Here at ZenLite 8, let's unpack this profound Stoic truth. Recognizing life's preciousness isn't just a feel-good idea. It's a revolutionary shift that anchors you in the present, quiets your stress, and lights up the beauty in the ordinary. Imagine waking up in a small apartment in Chicago, the hum of the city already alive outside. You're tired, maybe worried about a looming bill or a tough conversation you've been avoiding. The weight of it all presses down before you've even had your coffee. But now, picture pausing just for a second and feeling the air fill your lungs. You're here. You're alive. That breath, so simple yet so profound, is proof you're still in the fight. The Stoics, like Seneca, would say this is no small thing. Seneca once wrote, "You live as if you were destined to live forever. No thought of your frailty ever enters your head." He wasn't scolding us, he was waking us up. Life isn't guaranteed. Yesterday wasn't owed to you, and tomorrow isn't promised. But today is yours, and that's a victory worth celebrating. This awareness changes everything. It's not about ignoring your problems or pretending everything's perfect. It's about putting those problems in perspective. That bill might stress you out, but it's just a number. It can't steal the warmth of your morning coffee or the sound of your neighbor's dog barking down the hall. That tough conversation might loom large, but it doesn't erase the fact that you're here, with a voice to speak and a heart to feel. When you start to see life as a gift, the things that once seemed overwhelming shrink. They don't disappear, but they lose their power to define you. You begin to realize that the mere act of being here, of showing up for another day, is already a triumph. It's like finding $1 in your pocket when you thought you were broke. Suddenly, you're richer than you knew. Let's ground this in a story. Consider someone like Alex, a firefighter in a small town in Oregon. Every day, he walks into situations most of us would run from. Flames, smoke, uncertainty. A few years ago, he lost a colleague in a blaze that haunted him for months. It shook him, made him question everything. But one morning, as he laced up his boots for another shift, he caught sight of his daughter's drawing taped to the fridge. A stick-figure family under a bright yellow sun. In that quiet moment, something clicked. He was still here. He could still hug his kid, still laugh with his wife, still feel the ache of a long shift and the relief of coming home. That realization didn't erase his grief, but it reframed it. Life, with all its pain, was still a gift. Each day he showed up, he wasn't just doing his job, he was honoring the miracle of being alive. Alex's story isn't unique. It's the story of anyone who's faced loss or fear and still chosen to embrace the day in front of them. This Stoic lens isn't about rose-colored glasses. It's about clarity. When you truly grasp how delicate life is, how every moment could be your last, you stop sweating the small stuff. That argument with your coworker is not worth your peace. That missed promotion, it doesn't define your worth. You start to cherish what's real. The way your mom's voice sounds on the phone, the crunch of leaves under your sneakers on a fall walk, the way a good song makes your heart lift. These are the treasures of existence, and they're already yours. The Stoics taught us to hold these moments close, not out of fear they'll vanish, but out of gratitude they're here at all. It's like savoring a home-cooked meal. You don't rush through it. You taste every bite, knowing it's special because it won't last forever. This mindset also frees you from the trap of comparison. In a world obsessed with Instagram perfect lives, it's easy to feel like you're falling short. But when you see each day as a gift, you stop measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel. Your morning might not look like an influencer's sunrise yoga session, but it's yours, real, messy, beautiful. Maybe you're brewing coffee in a tiny kitchen in Brooklyn, or maybe you're driving to work through the sprawling suburbs of Houston. Wherever you are, you're living a moment no one else can claim. That's enough. That's everything. The Stoics would nod and say, focus on your own path. Your life is the only one you're meant to live. Now let's bring this home. Think about the last time you felt truly alive, not because something big happened, but because you noticed the small stuff. Maybe it was laughing with a friend until your sides hurt, or feeling the breeze on your face during a walk. Those moments remind you that life doesn't need to be perfect to be precious. They're like little love letters from the universe, saying, hey, you're still here. Make it count. The Stoics would urge you to collect these letters, to build a habit of noticing them. Try it tomorrow morning. Before you check your phone, name 3 things you're grateful for. Your breath, the roof over your head, the fact that you get another shot at today. It's not cheesy, it's grounding. It's a reminder that you're not just surviving. You're gifted with the chance to thrive. This shift in perspective doesn't mean you'll never stress again. Life's demands don't vanish. But when you see each day as a miracle, you carry a quiet strength into those demands. You stop letting temporary worries steal your joy. You start living with intention, knowing that every choice, every moment, is a chance to honor the gift you've been given. And in that honoring, you find a peace that no chaos can touch. A peace that says, I'm here, and that's enough. As we hold this truth close, let's turn to another Stoic gem. The idea that true victory isn't found in trophies or applause, but in the quiet, persistent courage to keep going. Victory lies in perseverance. We live in a world that loves to celebrate the shiny moments, The promotions, the viral moments, the picture-perfect wins plastered across social media. But the Stoics, those steady voices of wisdom, would look past the glitter and point to something deeper, something truer. They'd tell us that real victory isn't about what the world sees. It's about what happens in the silence of your soul. It's about the times you kept going when every part of you wanted to quit, the moments you pushed through pain no one else noticed, the invisible battles you fought and won simply by refusing to give up. Here at ZenLite 8, let's dive into this Stoic truth. Success isn't measured by external accolades, but by the resilience you build, step by stubborn step, through life's toughest storms. Picture a marathon runner, not at the finish line with a medal gleaming, but at mile 20, legs screaming, mind begging for an excuse to stop. That's where victory lives. Not in the crowd's cheers, but in the decision to take one more step. The Stoics understood this. They didn't chase applause or easy wins. They chased character. Marcus Aurelius, scribbling in his tent amidst war and chaos, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." He wasn't dismissing hardship, he was redefining it. To him, every struggle was a chance to prove your strength, not to others, but to yourself. Every time you endure, you're not just surviving, you're sculpting a version of yourself that nothing can break. Let's make this real with a story. Meet Maria, a teacher in a small school in Atlanta. A few years ago, she hit a wall. Budget cuts slashed her resources, her classroom was falling apart, and her students, kids carrying their own heavy burdens, tested her patience daily. On top of that, her marriage was crumbling, and she felt like she was failing at everything. There were mornings she sat in her car outside the school, tears streaming, wondering if she could even walk inside. But she did. Every day, she wiped her face, took a deep breath, and stepped into that classroom. She didn't have grand victories, no awards, no viral moments, but she had grit. She kept showing up, not because it was easy, but because she believed those kids deserved someone who wouldn't give up on them. Over time, something shifted. Her students started trusting her. Her lessons, born from persistence, began to spark curiosity. And Maria? She found a strength she didn't know she had, not in a spotlight, but in the quiet choice to keep going. That's what the Stoics mean by victory. It's not the moment you cross the finish line. It's every step you take to get there, especially the ones no one sees. Think about your own life. Maybe you've lost a job and spent months sending out resumes, each rejection stinging like a slap. Or maybe you've watched a dream slip away, a business that didn't take off, a relationship that unraveled despite your best efforts. Those moments hurt. They make you question yourself, your path, your worth. But here's the Stoic truth. Every time you dust yourself off and try again, you're winning. Not because you got the job or rebuilt the dream, but because you didn't let the pain define you. You kept moving, and that movement is the heartbeat of resilience. This idea flips the script on how we see success. In America, we're taught to chase the big wins, the corner office, the sold-out show, the life that looks good on paper. But the Stoics would call that a trap. They'd point to the single mom in Denver working nights to feed her kids, still smiling at their school play. They'd nod at the college student in Miami who failed his first exam but studied harder for the next one. They'd see victory in you when you drag yourself out of bed after a sleepless night, put on your shoes, and face the day anyway. These aren't the stories that make headlines, but they're the ones that make us human. They're the proof that strength isn't loud. It's steady, quiet, relentless. Let's dig deeper. Perseverance isn't just about pushing through. It's about what you learn along the way. Every time you face a setback and keep going, you're teaching yourself something. You're learning patience when life tests your temper. You're building discipline when distractions beg for your attention. You're cultivating hope when despair feels easier. These lessons don't come with certificates, but they're more valuable than any degree. They're the kind of wisdom that carries you through life's next storm, and the one after that. The Stoics called this the art of endurance, and it's not about being unbreakable. It's about being bendable, adaptable, human. Now, think about someone like Michael Jordan, a name every American knows. He's a legend, but not because he was born perfect. He was cut from his high school basketball team, told he wasn't good enough. That rejection could have ended his story, but it didn't. He practiced day after day, turning failure into fuel. Each missed shot, each loss was a lesson in perseverance. By the time he was winning championships, it wasn't just talent. It was the years of quiet, unseen effort, the choice to keep going when no one was watching. That Stoic victory. Not the rings, but the resolve behind them. This mindset matters because life doesn't hand out participation trophies. You'll face moments that feel unfair, a diagnosis that blindsides you, a betrayal that cuts deep, a goal that keeps slipping out of reach. The Stoics would say these aren't punishments, they're practice. They're opportunities to flex your inner strength, to show yourself what you're made of. And every time you do, you're not just getting by, you're growing. You're becoming someone who can face the mirror and say, I didn't quit. That's a victory no one can take from you. One that lives in your bones, not on a shelf. Let's bring it back to you. Think of a time you thought you couldn't keep going. Maybe a relationship fell apart, or a project you poured your heart into failed. What did you do? You're here, so you didn't give up. Maybe you cried, maybe you doubted, but you kept moving. That's not weakness, it's power. It's the kind of power that builds slowly, quietly, until one day you realize you're not the same person who started the journey. You're stronger not because life got easier, but because you learned to carry it. The Stoics would smile at that. They'd say, you're winning, not because you've arrived, but because you're still walking. This victory isn't always loud or obvious. It's in the single parent who gets up at dawn to pack lunches after a night of worry. It's in the artist who keeps painting despite empty galleries. It's in you when you choose to try again, even when your heart's heavy. These moments don't trend on Twitter, but they trend in your soul. They're the threads that weave a life of meaning, a life that says, I showed up, and that's enough. And as we celebrate these quiet wins, let's turn to another Stoic lesson. That true progress isn't about what the world sees. It's about who you're becoming inside. True progress is internal. In a world that's always shouting about success, bigger houses, flashier cars, more followers, it's easy to feel like you're falling behind if your life doesn't sparkle on the surface. We're taught to chase the spotlight, to measure our worth by what we can show off at a high school reunion or post on social media. But the Stoics, those quiet revolutionaries of the soul, saw through that noise. They tell you that real progress, the kind that lasts, doesn't live in what the world applauds. It lives inside you, in the clarity of your thoughts, the calm in your heart, the way you stay true to your values even when no one's watching. Here at ZenLite 8, let's explore this Stoic truth. True growth isn't about external trophies. It's about becoming someone you respect, someone who lives with purpose, no matter how loud or quiet the world around you gets. Picture yourself in a coffee shop in Seattle, rain tapping the windows, your laptop open to a spreadsheet that's supposed to define your career. You're stressed, comparing your progress to a coworker who just got a corner office. Stings, doesn't it? That voice in your head whispering, you're not enough. Now imagine stepping back, taking a breath, and asking a different question. Who am I becoming? Not what you're achieving, not what others see, but who you are when the laptop's closed and the coffee's cold. Are you more patient than you were a year ago? Do you pause before snapping at a rude email? Are you starting to forgive yourself for old mistakes? That's where progress hides, not in the promotion, but in the person you're shaping through every choice, every reflection, every moment you choose integrity over impulse. The Stoics, like Seneca, understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." He wasn't talking about money. He was talking about the poverty of chasing external validation. In America today, we're surrounded by scoreboards, GPAs, job titles, likes, bank balances. From grade school to retirement, we're taught to measure ourselves against these markers, as if they're the only proof we matter. But what if we flipped the script? What if we judged our lives by how we handle a bad day, by the grace we show when we're tired, the honesty we bring when it's easier to lie, the courage it takes to question our own path instead of blindly sprinting down it? That's the Stoic yardstick, and it's radical because it's invisible. It doesn't need a stage or a selfie. It's yours, quietly growing. Every time you choose to be better than you were yesterday. Let's ground this in a story. Meet James, a chef in New Orleans. 5 years ago, he was the guy everyone envied, running a trendy restaurant, his name in food blogs, bookings months out. But inside, he was crumbling. The pressure to stay hot burned him out. He drank too much, snapped at his staff, lost sight of why he loved cooking. One night, after a brutal shift, he sat alone in the empty kitchen and realized he didn't like who he'd become. So he started small, really small. He apologized to his team. He took a day off to walk the French Quarter, just to feel the city again. He began listening to his gut instead of the critics. No one threw him a parade for it. His Instagram didn't blow up. But over time, James changed. He became calmer, kinder, more present. His food got better, not because he chased trends, but because he cooked from his heart. That was his progress, not a Michelin star, but a life he could live with. A life he respected. That's what the Stoics mean by internal growth. It's not always loud or linear. Sometimes it feels like you're circling back, repeating old mistakes, tripping over the same doubts. But even that's progress because you're noticing. You're awake. You're asking, why did I react that way? Or what can I do differently? That self-awareness is a superpower. It's the difference between being tossed by life's waves and learning to steer your own ship. Think about the last 6 months of your life. Maybe you've had moments of frustration, missed deadlines, arguments, plans that fell apart. But have you also had moments where you caught yourself? Where you chose silence over an outburst, or took a walk instead of scrolling through your phone? Those are victories, quiet as they are. They're proof you're growing, not because you're perfect, but because you're trying. This internal progress matters because it's unshakable. The world can take away your job, your status, your plans, but it can't touch what's inside. Your ability to stay calm when chaos swirls, to act with kindness when you're hurting, to keep your word when no one's checking. That's yours forever. The Stoics called this the fortress of the mind, a place no storm can breach. And you build it brick by brick every time you reflect instead of react, every time you choose values over validation. In a culture that's always pushing you to do more, be more, have more, this is rebellion. It's saying, I don't need the world's approval to know I'm enough. It's walking into a room, not with arrogance, but with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are. Let's make it personal. Think of a time you felt overlooked. Maybe you worked hard on something and no one noticed. It hurt, right? But now look deeper. Did that moment teach you something? Maybe it showed you your own resilience or clarified what you truly care about. That's growth, and it's not contingent on applause. It's like planting a tree. No one sees the roots spreading, but they're there, anchoring you, making you stronger with every season. The Stoics would say this is what life's for. Not to collect shiny things, but to cultivate a soul you're proud of. And the beauty is you're already doing it. Every time you pause to think before you speak, every time you let go of a grudge, every time you show up for yourself, you're building that soul. This doesn't mean you stop striving. The Stoics weren't about sitting still, they were about action, but action with purpose. You can chase your dreams, build your career, love fiercely, but do it for you, not for the scoreboard. Progress isn't the corner office. It's the clarity you bring to every decision. It's not the follower count. It's the compassion you carry into every interaction. It's not the world saying, you made it. It's you knowing, deep down, that you're living true. As we hold this truth, let's explore another Stoic gift. The freedom that comes from focusing only on what you can control. Control what you can, release the rest. Life has a way of throwing curveballs. Unexpected bills, harsh words, plans that unravel just when you thought you had it all figured out. It's tempting to grip tighter, to try to control every outcome, every opinion, every twist of fate. But the Stoics, with their steady wisdom, would gently shake their heads. They'd tell you that most of your stress comes from wrestling with things that were never yours to hold. The real power, they'd say, lies in focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, and letting go of the rest. Here at ZenLite 8, let's dive into this liberating Stoic principle. When you master what's within your reach, you find a peace that no chaos can steal. Imagine you're stuck in traffic on a freeway in Los Angeles. Late for a meeting, your phone buzzing with notifications. Your heart's racing, your mind spinning with what-ifs. What if you miss the deal? What if your boss thinks you're slacking? What if this ruins everything? That anxiety feels like a vice, tightening with every honk. Now, picture a Stoic sitting in the car next to you. They're not fuming or spiraling. They're breathing, noticing the sunlight glinting off the skyline, maybe even humming to the radio. Why? Because they know they can't control the traffic, the meeting's outcome, or their boss's opinion. But they can control how they respond, whether they let this moment ruin their day or use it to practice patience. That's the Stoic secret. Freedom isn't about bending the world to your will. It's about bending your mind to what's real. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, put it plainly, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." Sounds simple, but it's a game changer. Think about the last time you lost sleep over something. A friend's cold reply, a project that didn't land, the way a stranger judged you. How much energy did you pour into worrying about things outside your grasp? Now, imagine redirecting that energy inward. What if you focused on how you speak to that friend, how you refine your work, how you carry yourself regardless of judgment? That's where your power lives, not in controlling others, but in shaping yourself. It's like being the captain of a small boat in a vast ocean. You can't command the waves, but you can steer your sail, adjust your course, and keep moving forward. Let's bring this to life with a story. Meet Sarah, a nurse in a busy hospital in Boston. Her days are a whirlwind. Long shifts, demanding patience, endless paperwork. Last year, she got caught up in trying to please everyone. She obsessed over her supervisor's feedback, stressed about patients who didn't thank her, worried about mistakes she couldn't undo. It drained her, left her burned out and questioning her career. Then, she stumbled across a Stoic idea in a podcast. Focus on what's yours. She started small. She couldn't control her supervisor's mood, but she could control her effort, double-checking charts, offering a smile. She couldn't make every patient grateful, but she could be kind, even when it wasn't returned. Slowly, her stress eased. Not because her job got easier, it didn't, but because she stopped carrying weight that wasn't hers. She found peace in doing her best, then letting go. This principle resonates deeply in America, where we're often told we can have it all if we just work harder. We're conditioned to think we should control everything, our image, our success, our future. But that's a recipe for exhaustion. The Stoics offer a different path. Clarity. They'd say most of your worry comes from fighting battles you can't win. You can't control what your neighbor thinks of your lawn, or whether your startup goes viral, or how tomorrow unfolds. But you can control how you treat your neighbor, how you pitch your idea, how you face today. That's not giving up. It's waking up. It's choosing to pour your energy into what matters, what moves the needle in your soul. Let's make it personal. Think of something stressing you out right now. Maybe a family member's criticism, a goal you're scared you won't hit, or a news cycle that's got you on edge. Feel that tension? Now ask, what's in my control here? Maybe it's how you listen to that family member, or the effort you put into your goal, or turning off the news to clear your head. When you zero in on what's yours, the fog lifts. You're not helpless, you're empowered. It's like decluttering a messy room. You can't control the size of the space, but you can decide what stays, what goes, and how you arrange it. That's where peace begins, not in a perfect world, but in a focused mind. This focus also builds resilience. Every time you let go of what you can't control, you're training yourself to stay steady. You're saying, I don't need everything to go my way to be okay. That's huge. In a culture that's always pushing you to react, to post, to argue, to fix everything, it's revolutionary to pause, to breathe, to choose your response instead of being dragged by the moment. The Stoics called this discipline, but it's really freedom. Freedom from the endless tug-of-war with things that don't belong to you. Freedom to live with intention, to walk through life with a calm that says, I've got this not because I control the world, but because I control me. Now, think about someone like Abraham Lincoln. He's a hero to many Americans, but his life was no picnic. He faced failure after failure, lost elections, a fractured country, personal grief that could have crushed him. Yet, he kept his focus on what he could do. Speak truth, lead with integrity, keep trying. He couldn't control the war's outcome or every critic's pen, but he could control his character. That focus didn't just shape a nation, it shaped a legacy. It's a reminder that your greatest impact comes from mastering what's yours, not chasing what's not. This Stoic practice isn't about being passive. It's about being precise. It's about saving your energy for what you can shape, your kindness, your effort, your honesty, and releasing the rest with grace. Try it tomorrow. When stress creeps in, make a quick list. What can I control? What can't I? Then act on the first, let go of the second. It's like lifting weights for your mind. Each rep makes you stronger, clearer, lighter. And that lightness? It's peace. Not the kind that needs perfect circumstances, but the kind that lives inside you, steady through any storm. As we embrace this freedom, let's turn to another Stoic gift. The quiet superpower of mastering your emotions, turning feelings into allies instead of enemies. Emotional mastery is your quiet superpower. We've all been there, caught in a moment where emotions surge like a tidal wave, threatening to sweep us away. Maybe it's anger flaring up during a heated argument, fear gripping your chest before a big decision, or sadness settling in like an uninvited guest. In those moments, it's easy to feel like your emotions are the boss of you, dictating your words, your actions, your day. But the Stoics, with their timeless clarity, saw emotions differently. They didn't deny them or push them away. They welcomed them as part of being human. Yet, they insisted on one thing: you don't have to let your feelings run the show. Here at ZenLite 8, let's dive into this Stoic gem. Emotional mastery isn't about shutting down your heart. It's about feeling deeply while staying clear, choosing reason over reaction, and turning your emotions into allies instead of enemies. Picture yourself in a busy diner in New York City, the clatter of plates and hum of voices filling the air. You're waiting for a friend who's late, again. Your phone's silent, and irritation starts to bubble. You feel it, that heat in your chest, the urge to fire off a sharp text or let the whole evening sour. Now, imagine a Stoic sitting at the counter nearby, sipping coffee, unfazed. They're not ignoring their annoyance. They're noticing it, naming it, letting it pass through like a cloud. They choose to wait a little longer, to greet their friend with a smile instead of a jab. That's emotional mastery. Not pretending you're above feelings, but refusing to let them drive the car. It's the difference between being consumed by a storm and standing steady in its eye, aware but unbroken. The Stoics, like Epictetus, understood this balance. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It's a simple idea, but it's profound. Emotions are natural. They're your soul's way of responding to life's highs and lows. Anger tells you something feels unjust. Fear signals a challenge. Sadness reminds you what matters. The Stoics didn't want you to numb these signals. They wanted you to listen to them without losing yourself. Think about the last time you snapped at someone you love. Maybe during a stressful week, when deadlines and bad news piled up. In that moment, your anger felt like truth, like it had to spill out. But later, when the dust settled, you saw it differently. You wished you'd paused, breathed, chosen words that built bridges instead of walls. That's what emotional mastery offers. The chance to act from your higher self, not your rawest impulse. Let's ground this in a story. Meet Rachel, a social worker in Chicago. Her job is intense. Long hours, heavy stories, families in crisis. A couple of years ago, she was drowning in it. She'd come home exhausted, snapping at her partner over small things, like dishes left in the sink. She felt guilty, but her emotions seemed to have a life of their own. Then, she started practicing a simple Stoic habit, naming her feelings. When frustration hit, she'd say to herself, "This is anger." When overwhelm crept in, she'd whisper, "This is stress." That small act created distance, a tiny gap between her and the emotion. In that gap, she could choose: lash out or take a walk, stew in resentment or ask for a hug. Over time, Rachel transformed. She didn't stop feeling. She felt everything, but she stopped letting those feelings define her. She became the calm in her own storm, a rock for her clients and herself. This resonates in America, where we're often caught in a culture of reaction. Social media eggs us on to clap back, to vent, to wear our emotions like a badge. But the Stoics would shake their heads. They'd say true strength isn't in shouting loudest. It's in staying steady when everyone else is spiraling. It's not about being cold or robotic. It's about being wise. Imagine you're in a meeting in Denver, and a colleague throws you under the bus. Your blood boils, you want to fire back to defend yourself. But what if you paused, counted to 5, took a breath, asked yourself, what's my goal here? Maybe you'd respond with calm, clear words that shift the room, not escalate it. That's power, not the loud kind, but the kind that changes things quietly from within. Let's make it personal. Think of a moment you let emotions take the wheel. Maybe you said something you regret or froze when you needed to act. It happens to all of us. Now, think of a time you didn't, a time you felt the surge but chose differently. Maybe you walked away from an argument or pushed through fear to speak up. How did that feel? Like freedom, right? That's emotional mastery growing inside you. It's not about never feeling anger or fear. It's about not becoming them. It's about holding space for your emotions without letting them move into your driver's seat. The Stoics called this the art of the pause, and it's a skill you build moment by moment, choice by choice. This mastery doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice like lifting weights or learning guitar. You start small, catching yourself before you snap, breathing through a wave of anxiety, choosing curiosity over judgment. Each time you do, you're carving a new path in your mind, one that leads to clarity instead of chaos. Think about someone like Maya Angelou, whose words still echo across America. She faced unimaginable pain, abuse, racism, loss. Yet her voice was steady, her wisdom radiant. She didn't suppress her emotions. She channeled them, shaped them with reason and grace. That's what emotional mastery looks like. Not a wall around your heart, but a window, letting light in and out with intention. Why does this matter? Because the person who masters their emotions isn't just calmer, they're freer. They're not at the mercy of every slight, every setback. They're the ones others lean on in a crisis, not because they don't feel, but because they've learned to feel without falling apart. In a world that's always pushing you to react, this is rebellion. It's saying, I choose my response, and that's my strength. Try it today. When an emotion rises, name it. This is frustration. Then ask, what would my best self do? That question is your compass, guiding you to actions that align with who you want to be. As we cultivate this quiet superpower, let's explore another Stoic key to a fuller life: the transformative power of gratitude. Gratitude is the key to happiness. In the hustle of everyday life, it's easy to get caught up chasing what's next. A better job, a bigger house, a life that feels just a little more complete. We're wired to notice what's missing, to fixate on the gaps instead of the gifts. But the Stoics, with their knack for cutting through illusion, saw a different way. They taught that happiness doesn't come from getting more. It comes from seeing more, from recognizing the beauty already woven into your days. Gratitude, they'd say, isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's a lens that brightens the ordinary, a practice that turns survival into reverence. Here at ZenLite 8, let's unpack this Stoic wisdom. Gratitude doesn't erase life's struggles. It illuminates the light within them, showing you that you're already richer than you think. Imagine a crisp autumn morning in Minneapolis, leaves crunching under your boots as you walk to the bus stop. You're stressed, work's piling up, your bank account's tighter than you'd like, and the news is a constant hum of bad vibes. It's easy to let that weight define your day, to see only what's wrong. But now, picture pausing, just for a moment, to notice the way the sunlight filters through the trees, or the warmth of your scarf against the chill. You're here, breathing, moving through a world that's still spinning. That's not nothing, that's everything. The Stoics, like Seneca, would urge you to lean into this. Seneca practiced negative visualization, imagining life without the things he loved. Not to scare himself, but to wake himself up. By picturing loss, he saw his blessings more clearly. His family, his home, the simple act of being alive. This practice hits home in America, where we're often caught in a cycle of not enough. We scroll through feeds showing perfect vacations, flawless bodies, dream careers, and it's tempting to feel shortchanged. But gratitude flips that script. It says, look at what you have. Not in a preachy way, but in a grounding one. Think about the last time you ate a meal you love, maybe your mom's mac and cheese, or a taco from your favorite food truck. Did you savor it, or rush through it, already thinking about the next thing? Gratitude is about slowing down to taste that bite, to feel the warmth of a friend's laugh, to notice the way your dog wags its tail when you walk in. These aren't grand moments, they're sacred ones, and they're already yours. Let's bring this to life with a story. Meet David, a mechanic in rural Texas. A few years back, he hit a rough patch. His shop was struggling, his teenage daughter was pulling away, and he felt like life was slipping through his fingers. One evening, after a long day, he sat on his porch, exhausted. Instead of scrolling his phone, he tried something new. He listed 3 things he was thankful for. The stars overhead, bright and endless. His daughter's giggle, faint through her bedroom window. The fact that he'd made it through another day. It wasn't magic, his problems didn't vanish, but it shifted something. He started doing it every night, noticing small joys. A customer's kind word, the smell of rain, his own heartbeat. Over time, David's world brightened. Not because he got rich or fixed everything, but because he saw the richness he already had. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring the hard stuff. The Stoics weren't naive, they knew life could be brutal. But they also knew that even in pain, there's something to hold on to. A lesson, a moment of resilience, a glimpse of love. Think about a tough time in your life. Maybe a loss that left you hollow, or a failure that stung deep. Now look closer. Was there anything, even something small, that kept you going? Maybe a friend's text, a song that hit just right, or your own stubborn refusal to quit. That's what gratitude finds. The light flickering in the dark, the warmth in the cold. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about seeing that even when it's not, there's still something worth cherishing. Let's make it personal. When was the last time you felt truly grateful, not for a big win, but for something simple? Maybe the way your coffee tasted this morning, or how your kid hugged you out of nowhere. Those moments are gold, but we miss them when we're racing toward what's next. The Stoics would say, slow down. Try this tomorrow. Before your day starts, name 3 things you're thankful for. Your breath, your bed, the chance to try again. It's like tuning a radio, you adjust the dial and suddenly the static fades and the music comes through. Gratitude tunes you to life's quiet beauty, the kind that doesn't shout but whispers, you're already enough. This practice transforms you. It doesn't erase stress, but it softens it. It doesn't fix every problem, but it reminds you that problems aren't your whole story. In a culture that's always pushing you to want more, gratitude is defiance. It's saying, I have enough right here, right now. And that's not settling, it's thriving. It's choosing joy not because life's perfect, but because you see the perfection in its mess. Look at someone like Oprah Winfrey, who rose from poverty and pain to become a beacon of hope. She's open about her gratitude practice, how it grounded her through every storm. It's not why she succeeded, it's how she lived, fully, in every moment. Why does this matter? Because gratitude rewires your heart. It shifts you from scarcity to abundance, from fear to reverence. It's the key to happiness, not because it changes your circumstances, but because it changes you. You become someone who finds light in the smallest places. A stranger's smile, a deep breath, a second chance. And that light, it's yours, always, no matter what life brings. As we carry this gratitude forward, let's explore another Stoic truth. The power of showing up, day after day, with discipline that's not restriction but devotion. Discipline is freedom. In a world that celebrates instant gratification, fast food, quick likes, overnight success, it's easy to think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But the Stoics, those masters of inner strength, saw freedom differently. They tell you that true liberation doesn't come from chasing fleeting whims. It comes from discipline, from the quiet commitment to show up for yourself day after day, even when the spark of motivation has fizzled out. Discipline, in their eyes, isn't a cage. It's a key, unlocking a life of purpose, trust, and meaning. Here at ZenLite 8, let's explore the Stoic truth. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself into submission. It's about devoting yourself to the person you're becoming, building a foundation that no storm can shake. Picture a chilly morning in Portland, Oregon, where the fog clings to the streets and your alarm blares before dawn. You're cozy under the covers, and every fiber of your being begs to hit snooze. The gym feels like a distant planet, your journal's a chore, and that project you promised yourself you'd start can wait, right? We've all been there, wrestling with that inner voice whispering, "Tomorrow's fine." Now imagine a Stoic standing at your bedside, not scolding, but encouraging. They'd remind you of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." That's not guilt-tripping. It's a call to action, a reminder that showing up, even when you don't feel like it, is how you honor your life's purpose. Discipline sounds heavy, like a taskmaster cracking a whip, but it's really devotion in disguise. It's the choice to act not because it's easy, but because it's right. Think about the last time you stuck to something tough. Maybe a workout routine, a side hustle, or just keeping your cool during a family argument. It wasn't fun in the moment, was it? But afterward, there was a glow, a quiet pride that said, "I did that." That's discipline's gift. It builds trust in yourself. Every time you follow through, you're casting a vote for the person you want to be. You're saying, "I'm someone who shows up, who keeps promises, who doesn't let moods call the shots." And that trust, it's the bedrock of a life that feels free. Not free from effort, but free from regret. Let's ground this in a story. Meet Lisa, a single mom in Kansas City, juggling 2 jobs and a teenage son. A couple of years ago, she felt stuck. Her days blurred together, work, bills, repeat, and she dreamed of going back to school for a nursing degree. But time was tight and doubt was loud. "I'm too old. I'm too tired. What if I fail?" Still, she started small. She carved out 30 minutes each night to study, even when exhaustion screamed for Netflix. Some nights, she only got through a page before nodding off. But she kept at it not because she felt inspired, but because she wanted to believe in herself again. 2 years later, Lisa's halfway through her program. Her grades aren't perfect, but her confidence is unshakable. Discipline didn't make her life easy. It made her life hers. She's not just chasing a degree. She's building a version of herself she respects. This resonates deeply in America, where we're bombarded with messages about hustling for success, often at the cost of our peace. Discipline, in the Stoic sense, isn't about grinding yourself into the ground, it's about grounding yourself in purpose. It's not perfectionism, chasing flawless results. It's consistency, showing up imperfectly but faithfully. Think about someone like Serena Williams, whose tennis legacy dazzles the world. Her greatness didn't come from talent alone. It came from early mornings, endless drills, pushing through injuries and losses. She didn't always feel like practicing, but she did it anyway. That discipline wasn't restriction. It was liberation, freeing her to become a champion not just on the court, but in her own story. Let's make it personal. Think of an area in your life where you've been inconsistent. Maybe a hobby you abandoned, a goal you shelved, or even just flossing your teeth. What stopped you? Probably not a lack of desire, but a lack of follow-through on those tough days when motivation vanished. Now, imagine committing to one small action, every day no matter how you feel. 10 minutes of writing, a short walk, one kind word to someone you love. Sounds simple, but it's profound. Each time you do it, you're not just checking a box, you're proving something to yourself. You're showing that your values matter more than your mood swings, that your dreams are worth the effort, even when the results aren't instant. Discipline also transforms the mundane into the meaningful. Washing dishes, answering emails, driving to work. These aren't glamorous, but when you approach them with intention, they become rituals. You're not just cleaning plates, you're creating order in your space. You're not just working, you're contributing to something bigger. The Stoics saw every task, no matter how small, as a chance to practice virtue. To be present, to be steady, to be you. It's like turning a daily commute into a meditation, noticing the skyline or the rhythm of your breath instead of cursing traffic. Discipline makes life a canvas, where every brushstroke, even the ordinary ones, adds to the masterpiece. This isn't about being rigid or joyless. Discipline leaves room for rest, for laughter, for spontaneity. It's not about controlling every moment, but about guiding your energy toward what matters. Try it this week. Pick one thing you've been avoiding, something small but meaningful. Commit to it daily, not with force, but with care, like tending a plant. Watch how it grows, not just the habit, but your belief in yourself. That's freedom, Stoic style. Not the absence of obstacles, but the strength to move through them, rooted in your own resolve. As we embrace this liberating discipline, let's turn to another Stoic principle: the power of choosing your response, no matter what life throws at you. Your response is your responsibility. Life doesn't always play fair. People cut you off in traffic, colleagues take credit for your work, and sometimes the universe seems to conspire against your best-laid plans. In those moments, it's natural to want to lash out, to blame, to let the frustration spill over. But the Stoics, with their calm and piercing wisdom, would pause here. They'd remind you that while you can't control what happens, you always control how you respond. That choice between reacting impulsively and responding with intention is where your power lies. Here at ZenLite 8, let's explore the Stoic cornerstone. A single moment of pause can transform chaos into clarity, helping you act with wisdom and dignity, no matter the storm. Imagine you're at a family barbecue in Atlanta, the air thick with summer heat and the chatter of relatives. Someone, maybe an uncle with a knack for pushing buttons, makes a snide comment about your career. It stings, and your first instinct is to fire back, to defend yourself with a sharp retort. Your heart's pounding, your words are forming, ready to escalate. Now, picture a Stoic at the picnic table, sipping iced tea, unruffled. They feel the sting too, but they don't let it take the wheel. They breathe, count to 5, ask themselves, what do I want from this moment? Peace or pride? They choose a calm reply, or maybe silence, not out of weakness, but strength. That's the Stoic way, owning your response, not the situation. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor whose wisdom echoes Stoic principles, wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Think about that space. It's tiny, but it's sacred. It's where you decide who you are. Maybe you've been in a situation where that space felt non-existent, like when a coworker in Chicago dismissed your idea in a meeting, and you snapped before you could think. Later, you regretted it, not because you were wrong, but because you weren't you. The Stoics would nod and say, that's why we practice. Every provocation, every frustration, is a chance to widen that space, to choose a response that aligns with your values, not your reflexes. Let's bring this to life with a story. Meet Jamal, a high school teacher in Oakland. His classroom is a tough one. Kids acting out, parents uninvolved, admin breathing down his neck. Last year, a student mouthed off during a lesson, disrespecting him in front of everyone. Jamal felt the heat rise. Years ago, he might have yelled, sent the kid to detention, made it a power struggle. But he'd been reading about Stoicism, trying to apply it. So he paused. He took a breath, looked at the student, and said, let's talk after class. That pause saved the moment. Later, he learned the kid was dealing with a rough home life. Instead of a fight, they built trust. Jamal didn't control the student's words, but he controlled his response, and that changed everything. This idea hits hard in America, where we're surrounded by triggers, political divides, social media pile-ons, the pressure to always have the last word. It's tempting to react, to match fire with fire. But the Stoics would ask, what does that win you? A quick jab might feel good for a second, but it often leaves regret in its wake. True victory is staying true to yourself, even when the world's screaming for you to lose it. Think about someone like Martin Luther King Jr., whose calm resolve reshaped a nation. He faced hatred, violence, betrayal. Yet his responses, rooted in dignity and purpose, turned enemies into allies and obstacles into progress. That's the power of choosing your response. It doesn't just change the moment, it changes the world. Let's make it personal. Think of a time life tested you. Maybe a rude driver in Dallas cut you off, or a friend ghosted you when you needed them. What was your first impulse? To honk, to stew, to text something petty? Now, think of a time you chose differently. A time you let the anger pass, or reached out with understanding instead of hurt. How did that feel? Like reclaiming your power, right? That's what the Stoics mean by responsibility. You can't control the driver, the friend, the circumstance, but you can control what you do next. And that choice? It's everything. It's the difference between a day you regret and a day you're proud of. This practice takes work. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. The next time you feel triggered, try the Stoic pause. Count to 5. Breathe. Ask, what's my goal here? Maybe it's peace, maybe it's connection, maybe it's just staying true to you. Then act from that place, not the heat of the moment. It's like training a muscle. Each pause makes you stronger. Each choice builds your character. In a culture that loves drama, this is quiet rebellion. It's saying, I'm not a victim of my circumstances. I'm the author of my actions. And that authorship creates a life of dignity, where your words and deeds reflect who you want to be, not what the world tried to make you. Why does this matter? Because the person who owns their response owns their peace. They're not tossed by every wind. They're anchored, steady, free. Try it today. When something sparks you, pause. Choose. Watch how it shifts not just the moment, but you. As we carry this power of choice forward, let's explore another Stoic gift. The urgency of living fully in the present, where every moment is a chance to make life matter. Live fully in the present. In a world that's always pulling you in a million directions, scrolling through yesterday's regrets on your phone, worrying about tomorrow's deadlines. It's easy to lose sight of the only thing that's truly yours. This moment, right now. The Stoics, with their razor-sharp focus on what matters, understood this better than anyone. They saw time as life's most precious currency, one you can't borrow, save, or earn back once it's spent. To them, living wasn't about chasing the past or betting on the future. It was about sinking deeply into the present, where joy, meaning, and power reside. Here at ZenLite 8, let's dive into this Stoic truth. When you live fully in the now, you unlock a life that's vivid, awake, and yours, no matter what came before or what lies ahead. Picture yourself in a park in Austin, Texas, on a Saturday afternoon. Kids are laughing on the swings, joggers breeze by, and you're sitting on a bench, phone in hand, half present. Your mind's elsewhere, replaying a work email you wish you'd worded differently, or stressing about a bill due next week. Sound familiar? It's like you're physically here, but your heart's checked out, stuck in a loop of what was or what if. Now imagine a Stoic strolling through that same park. They're not glued to their screen. They're noticing the way the breeze rustles the oak leaves, the warmth of the sun on their skin, the rhythm of their own breath. They're not ignoring life's demands. They're just choosing to be here, fully, while they've got it. That's the Stoic gift. Seeing the present as your arena, the only place where you can truly live. Seneca, one of the sharpest Stoic minds, wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." It's a wake-up call, especially in America, where we're bombarded with distractions, notifications pinging, news cycles churning, ads promising a better life just one click away. We're so busy rushing through our days that we forget to inhabit them. But think about it. When was the last time you really tasted your coffee, not just gulped it down? Or listened to a friend, not just nodded while planning your reply? Those moments when you're all in, feel different, alive, electric, real. That's what the Stoics mean by living in the present. It's not about escaping reality. It's about embracing it, every messy, beautiful second. Let's ground this in a story. Meet Elena, a graphic designer in San Francisco. A year ago, she was drowning in distraction. She'd work with one eye on her inbox, eat dinner while scrolling Twitter, even miss her daughter's bedtime stories because her mind was on a client's feedback. She wasn't unhappy, but she wasn't there. Then a health scare, a routine checkup that wasn't so routine, shook her awake. Nothing was certain, she realized, except this moment. So she started small. She'd put her phone down during meals, savoring the crunch of her salad. She'd take 5 minutes before bed to breathe, really breathe, feeling the air fill her lungs. She'd play with her daughter, not just supervise, building Lego castles like they were the only thing that mattered. Life didn't get perfect, but it got fuller. Elena wasn't just passing time anymore. She was living it, and that changed everything. This resonates because we all know how fleeting time is, even if we don't like to admit it. In America, we're obsessed with productivity, cramming our days with tasks to feel like we're winning. But the Stoics would ask, what's the point of doing everything if you're not here for it? Living in the present doesn't mean you stop planning or reflecting. It means you stop letting those things steal your now. Think about someone like Fred Rogers, the beloved Mr. Rogers, whose gentle presence touched millions. He wasn't rushing through life, he was in it, fully, whether reading to kids or tying his sneakers. His secret wasn't fame or hustle. It was showing up, moment by moment, with heart. That's what made his life a masterpiece. And it's what can make yours one too. Let's make it personal. Think of a moment you felt truly present. Maybe watching a sunset on a road trip, or laughing so hard with friends your stomach hurt. What made that moment special? You weren't somewhere else, you were there, soaking it in. Now, contrast that with a time you were distracted, half listening, half living. The difference is stark, isn't it? The Stoics would say you can choose the first kind of moment more often. It's not about big gestures, it's about small shifts. Try it tomorrow. Before you open your phone, take one mindful breath, feeling it anchor you to now. Or when you're with someone, really see them. Their eyes, their smile. These acts don't stop time, but they stretch it, making every second richer, deeper, yours. Living in the present also frees you from baggage. The past can't be rewritten. It's done, a chapter closed. The future's a guess, no matter how much you plan. But now's your canvas. You can choose to smile, to act, to love right this second. That's power. It's like cleaning a foggy window. Suddenly, you see the world clearly, vividly, as it is. In a culture that's always pushing you to look back or leap forward, this is rebellion. It's saying, I'm not missing my life while waiting for it to start. And the beauty is, you don't need perfect conditions. A quiet park, a flawless day to do it. You can be present in a crowded subway in Chicago, or a messy kitchen in Miami, because presence isn't about where you are, it's about how you are. This doesn't mean you'll never drift. We're human, our minds wander, worry, replay. But the Stoics would say, come back. Train yourself to return to now, again and again, like a surfer riding waves back to shore. Each return strengthens you, makes you more awake, more alive. And in that aliveness you find joy, not the loud kind, but the quiet kind that hums in your bones when you notice your life as it's happening. As we savor this gift of presence, let's explore another Stoic insight. The peace that comes from trusting life's timing, letting go of the rush to win. Don't rush, trust the process. We live in a world that worships speed. Fast cars, instant downloads, success stories that seem to happen overnight. It's easy to feel like you're racing a clock, like if you don't have it all figured out by 30, 40, or yesterday, you're behind. But the Stoics, with their steady, grounded wisdom, would shake their heads at that frenzy. They'd tell you that life isn't a sprint. It's a journey, and real growth doesn't come from rushing to the finish line. It comes from patience, from consistent steps, from trusting that every effort you make is planting seeds for a harvest you might not see yet. Here at ZenLite 8, let's unpack this Stoic truth. Success isn't about outrunning everyone else. It's about staying true to your path, moving with purpose, and believing you're right on time. Imagine you're in a bustling coffee shop in Boston, laptops humming, baristas calling out orders. You're scrolling LinkedIn, and there it is, another post about someone your age landing their dream job, buying a house, living the life you thought you'd have by now. Your stomach twists, you feel like you're lagging, like you missed some secret shortcut. It's a familiar pang, especially in America, where we're fed stories of young billionaires and viral sensations. But now, picture a Stoic sitting across from you, sipping an espresso, unbothered. They'd lean in and say, "You don't need to race. You need to walk. Steadily, deliberately, your way." They'd remind you that fruit picked too soon is bitter, and growth forced too fast is fragile. Real progress, the kind that lasts, takes time. The Stoics weren't against ambition, they were all about purpose. But they knew that purpose unfolds slowly, like a tree growing rings you can't see until years later. Think about the last time you rushed something, maybe a project you crammed for, or a decision you made in a panic. It didn't feel solid, did it? Now, think of something you built patiently, a skill you practiced, a relationship you nurtured. That feels different, rooted, real. The Stoics would nod and say, "That's how it works." They believed in the power of small, consistent actions, trusting that each step, even the shaky ones, is moving you forward. It's not flashy, but it's true. Patience and persistence outlast any shortcut. Let's ground this in a story. Meet Carlos, a carpenter in Albuquerque. 5 years ago, he was itching to start his own business, tired of working for someone else. He saw competitors popping up, flashy websites and big contracts, and felt the pressure to jump in fast. Take out loans, scale quick, beat them at their game. But something held him back. He'd read about Stoicism and liked the idea of focusing on what he could control. So he took his time. He saved up, honed his craft, built a small workshop in his garage. He took on local jobs, one client at a time, delivering quality over quantity. It wasn't glamorous. Some months he barely broke even. But slowly word spread. His reputation grew not because he rushed, but because he trusted. Today, Carlos runs a steady business, not the biggest, but one he's proud of. His success isn't a headline. It's a life built with care. This mindset matters in America, where we're often sold the lie that faster is better. We're told to hustle, to grind, to make it before someone else does. But the Stoics would ask, make what? A life that's loud but hollow? Or one that's quiet but full? They'd point to someone like Toni Morrison, who didn't publish her first novel until her 40s. She wasn't racing. She was writing, teaching, living, letting her voice ripen. When her books finally shone, they weren't just good, they were timeless. That's what trusting the process does. It creates depth, not just dazzle. It's not about when you bloom, it's about how richly you do. Let's make it personal. Think of something you're impatient about, maybe a career goal, a fitness journey, or even healing from a hurt. You want it now, right? It's human. But now, think of something you've achieved through steady effort. A hobby you stuck with, a habit you built. That took time, didn't it? And it felt worth it. The Stoics would say that's the secret. Life rewards the long game. Try this week. Pick one thing you're pushing too hard, and ease up. Not give up, just trust. Do the work, but let go of the deadline. Ask, what would this look like if I believed I'm on time? Watch how that shifts your energy, from frantic to focused, from fear to faith. Trusting the process also quiets the noise. In a world screaming, hurry up, patience is defiance. It's saying, I'm not chasing someone else's timeline. I'm building my own. It's like planting a garden, you water, you weed, you wait. The flowers don't pop up overnight, but they will if you keep showing up. That's where consistency comes in. The Stoics loved it. Not the grind for grind's sake, but the rhythm of small, faithful acts. A page written daily becomes a book. A kind word daily becomes a bond. A step daily becomes a journey. And each one reminds you, you're not behind, you're exactly where you need to be. This doesn't mean you stop dreaming big. The Stoics were practical, not passive. They'd cheer your goals, but they'd urge you to love the work, not just the win. It's like hiking a mountain. Not every step feels epic, but each one gets you higher. You don't need to sprint to the peak, you need to keep climbing, trusting the path. In that trust, you find peace, not because you've arrived, but because you're moving with purpose. As we embrace this patient rhythm, let's turn to one final Stoic reminder. that you're already winning, not in some distant future, but right here, with every brave, persistent step. You are already a winner. We've traveled a long way together on this Stoic journey, unpacking truths that cut through the noise of modern life to reveal what it means to live fully, bravely, and true. Now, as we reach the final piece of this puzzle, let's pause and reflect on a truth that ties it all together. You are already a winner, not because you've checked every box, climbed every mountain, or silenced every doubt, but because you're still here, still trying, still rising after every fall. The Stoics, with their unflinching clarity, would look at you, through your struggles, your scars, your quiet moments of courage, and say, "That's victory." Here at ZenLite 8, let's celebrate this Stoic wisdom. Success isn't a destination. It's the resilience you show every day, the inner peace you cultivate, the invisible progress that makes you stronger than you know. Picture yourself in a small apartment in Philadelphia, the evening light filtering through a cracked window. You're sitting on the couch, maybe scrolling through your phone, feeling the weight of a long week. Deadlines missed, conversations that didn't go as planned, dreams that feel further away than ever. It's easy to think, "I'm not where I should be." That voice is loud, relentless, especially in a world that measures success by what's loud and shiny. Promotions, followers, bank accounts. But now, imagine a Stoic sitting beside you, not with judgment, but with a gentle nod. They'd point to the fact that you're here, reflecting, caring enough to question yourself. They'd say, "You've survived days you thought would break you. You've kept going when giving up was easier. That's not failure, that's triumph." The Stoics didn't define winning by external markers. They looked to the battles no one sees, the ones fought in the quiet of your mind, the moments you chose to try again when every part of you wanted to quit. Think about Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who could have been distracted by power and praise, yet spent his nights writing to himself about endurance, humility, resilience. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His victory wasn't his throne. It was his ability to face chaos with calm, to keep showing up as a man who valued virtue over vanity. That's the Stoic standard, and it's yours too, every time you rise above your struggles to live with intention. Let's ground this in a story. Meet Aisha, a barista in Seattle who dreams of opening her own cafe. 2 years ago, she hit rock bottom. A bad breakup left her heart in pieces. Her savings were drained by unexpected car repairs, and her job felt like a dead end. There were days she could barely get out of bed, the weight of it all pressing her down. But Aisha kept going. She'd drag herself to work, force a smile, and pour coffee like it mattered. She started saving again, $1 at a time. She took free online courses at night, learning about business plans and recipes. No one clapped for her. Her Instagram didn't go viral. But every small step, every shift she worked, every lesson she learned was a win. Today, Aisha's still saving, still dreaming, but she's different. She's stronger not because she's made it, but because she's never stopped trying. Her progress is invisible to most, but it's profound, etched in her resilience, her quiet pride. This resonates deeply in America, where we're often told we're only as good as our last big win. We chase the spotlight, thinking it'll prove we're enough. But the Stoics would shake their heads and point to the real heroes. The teacher in Detroit who keeps showing up for her students, even when the system fails her. The veteran in Nashville who fights through PTSD to rebuild his life, one steady day at a time. You, when you get up after a sleepless night, put on your shoes, and face the world anyway. These aren't the victories that make headlines, but they're the ones that make a life deep, durable, true. They're proof that winning isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance, about choosing to stay in the game no matter how tough it gets. Let's make it personal. Think back to a moment you felt like you failed. Maybe a job you didn't get, a relationship that fell apart, a goal you let slip. It hurt, didn't it? Like a bruise on your soul. But now, look closer, you're still here. You've kept going, even if it wasn't pretty. Maybe you cried, maybe you doubted, but you didn't quit. That's not weakness, it's strength. It's the kind of strength that builds quietly, like a river carving a canyon over time. The Stoics would call this a triumph, not because you avoided pain, but because you walked through it. Every tear, every stumble, every moment you chose to try again has shaped you into someone wiser, tougher, more human. Your scars aren't signs of losing. They're badges of surviving, of thriving. This invisible progress is what sets the Stoic path apart. It's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it feels like you're standing still, circling the same struggles, wrestling the same fears. But even that's progress because you're noticing. You're growing more aware, more grounded, more you. Think about the last 6 months. Have you had moments where you handled something better than before? Maybe you stayed calm when you would have snapped, or forgave yourself quicker after a mistake. Those shifts, small as they seem, are monumental. They're the roots of your inner fortress, a place of peace that grows stronger with every challenge you face, every choice you make to keep going. Why does this matter? Because the world doesn't always see your wins, but that doesn't make them less real. In a culture obsessed with metrics, likes, dollars, titles, it's easy to feel invisible if your victories don't shine. But the Stoics would say, your worth isn't in the applause, it's in the effort. It's in the single parent who packs lunches at dawn, exhausted but present. It's in the student who fails a test but studies harder next time. It's in you when you choose hope over despair, action over apathy, yourself over surrender. These are the triumphs that don't fade because they're woven into who you are, not what you have. This mindset shifts everything. The next time stress creeps in, meet it like a Stoic warrior. Ask, is this mine to carry? If it's yours, act with courage. If it's not, let it go. Return to your breath, your center, the truth that you've already survived harder days than this. You're not waiting to win, you're winning now with every step, every choice, every moment you refuse to let life break you. Think of someone like Nelson Mandela, who spent decades in prison yet emerged with grace, not bitterness. His victory wasn't just freedom, it was the man he became through years of quiet, relentless resilience. That's your victory too, growing inside you, deeper than any spotlight could reach. So stand tall. You're not behind, not failing, not less. You're becoming, every day, every struggle, every breath. The world might not throw you a parade, but it doesn't need to. Your life, with all its mess and beauty, is the proof. You're already a winner, not because you've finished the race, but because you're running it, heart open, spirit unbroken. As we close this chapter, let's hold this truth close. Your greatest victory is you, still here, still fighting, still shining in ways only you can. From the moment we began this journey together, we've walked through the Stoic wisdom that lights the path to a life of meaning, resilience, and joy. We started by embracing hardship as a forge for strength, seeing every challenge as a chance to grow tougher, wiser, more human. We recognized life's fragility, learning to cherish each breath as a gift that grounds us in gratitude. We redefined victory, finding it not in applause but in the quiet courage to keep going, no matter the odds. We measured progress by the clarity of our hearts, not the shine of our trophies, and found freedom in controlling what's ours, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. We mastered our emotions, turning them into allies, and cultivated gratitude to see the light in every moment. We built discipline as devotion, chose responses with dignity, lived fully in the present, and trusted life's timing with patience. And now we stand here knowing we're already winners, not because we've conquered everything, but because we've never stopped trying. This Stoic path isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about waking up each day and saying, I'm here, and I'll make it count. It's about carrying your scars with pride, knowing they're proof of your fight. It's about finding peace, not in a flawless life, but in a life you've chosen to live with heart. You are the hero of this story, not because you've reached the end, but because you're writing it page by page with every brave, imperfect step. So keep going, keep growing, keep shining. The Stoics would look at you and smile, because you're living the life they dreamed of, one grounded in truth, fueled by resilience, and radiant with purpose. In our fast-paced, connected world, the Stoic principles we've explored are more vital than ever. Start small. Each morning, take a moment to breathe deeply and name one thing you're grateful for. It could be your coffee, your health, or just the sunrise. When stress hits, pause and ask, what can I control here? Focus on your response, not the chaos. Build one tiny habit. 5 minutes of journaling, a short walk, and stick with it, not for perfection, but for trust in yourself. Practice presence. Put down your phone during a meal, really taste the food, really hear the person across from you. And when you feel behind, remind yourself, you're not racing anyone. You're building you. These small acts, rooted in Stoic wisdom, will anchor you in a world that's always pulling you away. They'll help you find calm in the storm, meaning in the mundane, and strength in simply being you. Thank you for joining us on this transformative journey at ZenLite 8. If these Stoic truths have sparked something in you, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you don't miss our next dive into living with purpose. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder of their own strength. It might just change their day. And in the comments below, let us know how you're embracing this path. Pick one word that captures what you're taking away. Something like breathe, let go, or presence. For me, it's presence, because living fully in this moment is where life begins. Drop your word below, and let's inspire each other to keep growing, keep shining, keep living.